Hi, Alan Stratton from Woodturning. Our President's Challenge in my club this month is an egg. Any style that we want. Now, I've made a lot of eggs in the past, deviled eggs, hollowed eggs, egg boxes, fried eggs. Well, that's in a different context, but segmented eggs, you name it, I think I've turned it. If I've missed some, let me know so that I can make that style of eggs. But anyway, so this time I decided that I had not made an egg with a Celtic knot decoration. I've done Celtic knots. I actually do them for IRD demos. So why not incorporate a Celtic knot into an egg? But not a standard Celtic knot. It's a 3-lobe, which is hard to do unless you know how. So that's a different topic altogether, but we'll do it in this one to make the eggs. And I used my old standby, this egg chuck. It came out about 8 years ago. I adapted it from somebody else. It's still very useful. It's a specialized donut chuck in effect. So we'll use it too. So let's make some eggs.
For this project, I selected a branch from a cherry tree. The wood has been in my shop for a couple of years and is dry. I trimmed the ends off at the bandsaw. For safety, I clamped the wood in a large clamp to prevent the wood from rolling in the saw. On the lathe, I mounted it between centers, a stub center clone and a live center. To rough the cylinder, a wing of my bowl gouge does a great job with a peeling cut. As the bark comes off, I see a large drying crack. Disappointing, but I will go on and count on filling the gaps with a UV resin later on in the process. At the end, I also trim the ends flat. No tenon this time. I'm planning on a 3-lobe Celtic knot style. I prepared a hexagon paper template. A hexagon is more convenient than a triangle. I will have to skip every other side. The paper is glued to plywood, sawn, and sanded to size. Since my cylinder is about 1 3/4 inches, a 2-inch hexagon will do great. This is now screwed to the ends. More essential preparation for the wood is to hot melt a piece of scrap to the top of the workpiece. My cut will not go through this scrap. Once the wood is ready, I prepare my sled by hot melt gluing scrap to hold the work at my selected angle. Then carefully saw away, making sure my hands are well away from the blade. When cut through, I stop the blade before attempting to move the work. Then flip the piece end for end and saw a second slot. After all, this limb is worth 2 eggs. We'll see. At this point, I have epoxied walnut slices into the slots. I need to remove the scrap and trim the ends of the walnut slices. Now a new scrap piece is glued to the new top of the workpiece. I'm ready to saw again, exactly like the first time. At this point, my workpiece has been sawn and has its walnut slices epoxied in place. It is pretty ugly right now. It looks better with the walnut trimmed, the old scrap removed, and a new scrap piece glued to the new top. It is ready to saw again. Back again from my epoxy station in my basement. 30-minute epoxy sets very slowly in the cool basement. A hot pad sped up the epoxy nicely. After removing the templates, I did not bother to trim the walnut slices for this third time. I have also left a scrap piece in place. My gouge will do short work to clean up the workpiece. This looks much better now. The drying cracks look very nasty now. My slices should hold everything together, but the gaps are big. This looks much better now. The drying crack looks very nasty and the gaps are big. I lay out key measures for the eggs using the octagon method for spheres for the big ends, which will each be a half sphere. For the small end, I will have to chicken wing it. My only guidance for the small end is that my egg's length will be 1.3 times the diameter. For this project, the big ends will be in the middle where the Celtic knot is. Parting cuts mark tops and bottoms of my 2 eggs. Then I moved to cutting the 45-degree side to the half octagon big ends. This is complicated because the space is tight between the eggs. Eventually, I worked the diameter down to the length of the octagon side. The 45-degree sides are close enough. I can do a perfect sphere, but no egg is a perfect shape. After removing some excess waste, I come back to perfecting my half spheres as much as I can. Then continue on to work the two small ends with a spindle gouge. Now is a great time to take care of that crack. Out comes the UV resin. I work it into the crack and flash it with the UV light, building layers until I think I have it a touch proud. It is a good day outside, so I take it outside for a sun bath to fully cure the UV resin. Next day, the wood is back in the lathe. Time now for a double duty scraping action. One duty is to level the UV resin. The other duty is to smooth the egg curve. After it looks great, I separate the two eggs with parting cuts and a bandsaw. The remaining work will use those end tenons I cut much earlier. Now mounted to a chuck, I again scrape to clean off the area from the part off and to remove any shift from remounting the egg. I had to make another pass with the UV resin to fill some more holes. With rough work done, I can reduce the remaining stub at the small end to the least possible, but still big enough to allow me to sand the egg smooth. Whenever possible, I like to partially finish while still on the lathe. I like shellac because it applies easily, blends well, and buffs beautifully on the lathe. Then the ultimate part off. Next, pull out my egg chuck that I featured 8 years ago. It still works. I'll put a link in the description. There are two good ways to center the egg in the chuck. One is to use the old live center divot, if available. The other is to rub the remaining nub against a flat tool such as my skew to force it to center. The egg is loose enough to move. When centered, cinch the chuck more and continue to refine the small end. Sanding and shellac finish my eggs. My eggs are ready for Easter egg hunts. The triple lobe Celtic knot looks great on them. The UV resin salvaged the project and looks like a streak in the wood. Very nice. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe on my website because it is more reliable than YouTube, and tell your friends about my videos. I appreciate your comments and questions. Every week I create a new wood turning video. Please wear your full face shield whenever the lathe is running. That is my best safety tip, and you are worth saving. This can help.